Hello. Hello, everybody. Really sorry about the delay. Let me see how many we have here. There's just 2 minutes to go before we accomplish the 5 minutes. And then we can start. We've got 22 at the moment. So good evening to those in Europe. Good morning, anybody from the States. I can see about 6 or 7 from the States. Anybody from Australia? No, it would be too early for them. I don't think I've got somebody from Australia. Okay. Let's just give it 1 more minute and we're ready to go. Okay, let's start. Hello, everybody. As I said, good evening, good morning, depending where you are, part of the world. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for joining this from full concept to completed prototype webinar. We really appreciate this. I think the webinar will take roughly about 1 hour, probably 50 minutes. If you have any questions, you have a chat on your left-hand side on the menu. Just drop your questions there, and when we get to the Q&A session, which will be shortly, we will read out those questions, and then we will open up microphones so that you can, ask any questions that you have at that moment. So, as I said on my invitations, I have 2 key people with me as hosts. One of them is Steve Janssens. Steve is our COO. Steve has a long trajectory in the engineering business. I'm going to let him talk about himself just very quickly. And also we have Alejandro Turell, who's our CEO, also coming from the engineering business. And I think both of them can definitely give us, very much in-depth information and clear out any kind of questions and comments that you have. So, Steve, would you like to introduce yourself quickly, please?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all here. Thanks for joining us. My name's Steve Janssens. My background, about 15 years experience working in product development industry, designing and inventing new products for various brands. As a consultant, an entrepreneur, and just a product designer. So I'm here to answer any of your questions. But at LastBasic, I help manage the back end of our platform and make sure that all of our inventors' ideas become a reality through our marketplace approach. So that's me. Alejandro, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, why not? Well, thank you, Steve and Luis, for these presentations. From my side, I spend a lot of time creating, prototypes for universities and multinationals. So I can understand the feeling when you're trying to, when you're trying to build something. It's not that easy. That's why we created LastBasic. So at the end, I have a lot of background as an industrial engineer and with some experience in innovation. So any question around that subject is also welcome. And well, there's not too many. Probably during the webinar, we will discover more about my experience But I think at this point it's going to be better if we start, with this big topic about how to create an invention, right?
Exactly.
It's a side hustle.
I've after 4 years talking to many of you as prospects and as clients in different calls, I've come up with, I think, 4 main issues, topics, themes that I think are important to discuss about in this new adventure that you're probably thinking about jumping into. One of them is how to create an invention as a side hustle. Inventing and product development really doesn't have to be a full-time job anymore. As a result, a wide range of great ideas are being turned into real products by people who have no experience with inventing, allowing markets to continue to expand and grow. Inventing and product development really don't have to be a full-time job anymore. As I said, individuals with a little bit of a spare time and good time can work on their inventions in the evening and around other responsibilities. So just like if you have a hobby or any other project as such, it can help to contribute to raising your self-esteem and positive sense of self, and it helps to build skills and confidence outside your workplace. So I think definitely that's a new area to explore, and I think that Alejandro, as an entrepreneur, and who's created together with us the LastBasic, he can give us quite a bit of advice around here. So Alejandro.
Yes. So the thing is, of course, it's completely different to build a hardware company or like building a startup. The thing is that, like, reality is that, like, my advice, I will start with my advice. I think creating an invention like requires a lot of time, but there's a few tips. So you can use you can make the invention do all this hard work, meanwhile you continue with your daily work. But at the end, what this means is that there's a lot of tools out there, like landing pages. You can create like so easy, get some exposure with Facebook ads. You can create so easy a crowdfunding campaign. So at the end, like, my advice here is create some designs, create some 3D models, get that packet, create a landing page, create some advertising around that, and then all that is going to be working, like, meanwhile you continue with your daily work. At the end, there's something, because, like, if you feel that you don't have enough energy for creating everything, I think, like, the best idea is just like getting or being encouraged with, like, step by step with small wins, right? So if you don't find that you have this energy, you can just like get an agreement with someone. There's like a lot of people willing to work in great products. You can close a success fee with someone. You can work or give royalties about your idea, so you can have someone with that like needed energy for you working with you on that experience.
Thank you, Alejandro. Now, the next topic I would like to highlight is, and that's something that many of you have asked me while we were talking on, in chats and phone or whatever, or video calls. What are the 4 different types of prototypes inventors should know? Many inventors wonder how to get a prototype of our invention done. What types of prototypes are there, and what different functions do they have? There is a breakdown of 4 main types of prototypes, and at least according to us, to LastBasic, which we tend to do things much easier for you people, in the inventors. And of course, these prototypes and their functions for your product development as such. So we've defined basically, one is mock-up, the basic prototype, then the MVP as a minimum viable product, and then as fourth part, the fourth type of product prototype is the MVP premium. So are these prototypes all ready for mass production? These are questions that you sometimes ask me. They must first go through, an additional process as such, which we usually call design for manufacturing before they jump into at the doors of manufacturing. But I think that Steve can definitely enlighten us much more around this topic. Steve, what do you think?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, there's sorry. Hey, how about we jump? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, there's a little background noise. Apologize for that. But for the 4 different prototypes Luis is talking about are essentially a step-by-step approach to getting yourself to market. And we like to focus at LastBasic on kind of an MVP approach, especially when it comes to hardware, where there's multiple features inside of your product that need to be tested. Your first prototype is typically your first physical test of your idea. So the goal is to validate your idea and put it in the hands of your customers so that they can also show that it's a viable idea to make more of and for you to invest more in as you grow your idea. So for us, sometimes inventors come to us with a very simple mock-up, just to like a show the size or shape of it. And we usually take that and move forward with that to detail out what's actually going on inside of the prototype in the MVP. We like to work with the clients to make sure that the right features are in the prototype so that you can take your first prototype and move forward with it. So that it's a smart prototype for you to go to market with as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Steve. What kind of expectations, do you think that inventors should be looking at versus reality? Why do you think that we should be, as an inventor, we should be asking the right product questions in order to, successfully start a hardware prototype? So, for example, what do you think are 3 or 4 main questions as an inventor we should be asking ourselves?
I think the 3 main questions to be asking are, why am I prototyping? What hypothesis I'm trying to test, and who is going to use my prototype first. So designing, setting expectations around those 3 questions is a good place to start, so that you build a prototype that makes sense for your user and for the questions you're trying to answer, either as an inventor or you're addressing the risks that you think are maybe the unknowns that you need to test before you go to market. So typically expectations are a little bit off because typically inventors think that they can go from 0 to market in one try, but the reality is you need to do an iteration to put your prototype in front of your customers and get feedback.
And you were mentioning there, about going to manufacturing. I understand that there are a number of steps before we think about even going to manufacturing to the final product. Turning an idea into a product and ultimately into a fully integrated business product definitely begins with a prototype. Yet prototyping is only one phase of the overall product development journey. So entrepreneurs should consider at least 4 aspects or 5 aspects. How many aspects do you think? I mean, when starting their prototyping journey, I remember reading recently a statistic out of the US. 5.4 million businesses were set up in the US alone in 2021 based on product development as such. So what do you think are the 4 main or the 5 main key questions or steps which you take into account before we jump into manufacturing at the end, based on the starting point, which is the prototyping?
Yeah, so if you're looking to start a physical product company where there's a physical prototype required, there's things you can do while the prototype's being developed. Figuring out who your target customer is, building your first, planning and building your first business venture around those target customers. What are the sales channels you think you could sell your product through? Obviously, navigating any legal frameworks with your invention, and understand, are you competing with anyone? And is there any conflict there? Also, you could design and build a great prototype, but if you don't know how to sell it or market it, then no one's going to know about it. So how do you market your product? What is your brand? Does your product align with your brand? And then lastly, once you have those things established, okay, how are you going to go to scale, and how are you going to manufacture your product with the right partners?
Okay, and once you've decided to go into manufacturing, what do you think are the main steps that we should take into account? I mean, me as an inventor, if I decide, okay, my prototype is ready to go into manufacturing, you as an expert, what should I consider before I jump into that manufacturing phase?
Probably, what is the ideal price point you want of your prototype? What type of margin do you want to make on your device versus a service that you have that maybe coincides with the device, like an app or something like that? Especially with IoT devices, you need to consider not just the physical prototype, but also the kind of ecosystem around the device. And then once you have that kind of established, it's a matter of more of the details of design for manufacturing, which is picking the right materials, making sure your design is manufacturable in a way to the level that you want, depending on how many units you want to build in the future. So depending on how big your market size is, you could build 1,000 units or 100 units or 1,000,000 units, and those all have different implications depending on the scale you go.
Yeah. Okay, thanks very much, Steve. I've got here Alejandro, who I haven't asked very much in the last a few minutes. I think that's to bring in Alejandro, I think that the best thing is that he can tell us a little bit more, not only about his own experience as an engineer in a traditional consultancy. Why, Alejandro? I mean, why create LastBasic? I mean, what are the 6 quick things that you need to know about LastBasic that maybe the inventors need to know? I mean, my first question would be, as an inventor, is why turn a traditional consultancy or the business model of a traditional consultancy into a something completely revolutionary, like a marketplace?
So I think like the reality, like the easy answer for that question is that there's like too many options out there if you want to prototype software, right? This like that easy. Right now, we all understand that if you want to prototype like a website or anything, like there should be a solution that is easy and simple for doing so. But the thing is, like, there's not too many options if you want to prototype hardware, right? So the thing is, like, why we give the shape of marketplace, that is, I think, an interesting question. Reality is that there's like too many. When I was, involved in this like innovation ecosystem, there's like too many new new digital trends. There's new environments and ecosystem. There's like a lot of different ways for disrupting traditional businesses, right? And like this, we experienced that in the past with a Uber or Cabify or any other platform like this one that are based in the sharing economy. So I think this like the question was like how we can disrupt that industry, and then we decided that if we can mix a few things like open innovation marketplace, having these like talented experts from all over the world that can provide value, submitting proposals that are with like completely different cultural approaches. So there's like too much value there. And at the end, what we are basically doing is we are removing all the inefficiencies of traditional, engineering consultancies. There's no, like budgets that comes and go. There's like no unnecessary meetings. We are basically trying to give, control to the inventors so they can have all the picture, right? Like in an easy ecosystem that they can, manage smartly, right? So that is the why of the marketplace.
And tell me, I mean, what do you achieve with them as such as with the marketplace? What kind of services and products do you think that does the LastBasic provide?
Yeah, that's a good question. The thing is that a few months ago, what we were offering was like these end-to-end solution. We became really good doing that. Basically, offering like from concept to final and functional prototype. What that I love to call MAP, right? Like this minimum adorable product, something that is enough attractive for convincing someone of something with all these crowdfunding platforms out there. And the thing is that we were doing that and we succeed doing that. But then after you experienced that with me, we were receiving like too many petitions of like the different inventors asking us for more and more things. So we decided to like make the thing wider. So we are now offering what we call this super end-to-end solution, which basically means that now we can offer crowdfunding advisory, financial advisory, packaging design, product photography, trying to be with inventor all over the way.
Yeah. And so what type of businesses does the LastBasic work with?
Good. No. The thing is that we were at the end. Most of the inventors that you have, that they're beginners, people that want to start with these hardware
side hustlers.
Yeah, side hustler. And the thing is that but bit by bit we were including valuable stakeholders into the equation. So we are at least thinking on including investors and partners, and we are perfectioning the entry of like better experts, and we are filtering everything better. So in terms of these inventors, let's say that we are focused on bringing value to the individuals and not that to corporations, at least at this point that we are now.
Right. So, I mean, you've mentioned about the need in the market to change, revolutionize the traditional consultancy into a marketplace, into a digital platform. What problems do you think we're solving in LastBasic?
Good. So, for me, at the end, the thing is that we discover, or this is something at the end probably like most of you probably know, is that it's when you have an idea, you don't know where to go. It is not that easy. It's like these traditional businesses, they are not always accessible, right? So the things that we as I mentioning, right, we if you at the end find one of those traditional businesses or consultancies or small agencies, what is going to happen is that they're going to translate all these high infrastructure costs that they have of employees and everything. So at the end, like makes these first iteration not that easy to create, right? It is like it's not appealing, right? You don't want to spend 100K on something that you are not sure if it's going to have what product market fit. It's not going to fit into the market. So removing inefficiencies, the problem is that people don't know where to go, and when they found where, they discover that it's like too expensive.
Okay. And tell me, what do you think differentiates LastBasic from the competition? I mean, you mentioned about the, this just change into open innovation. What main key points do you think are what differentiates LastBasic from competition as such?
Yes, no,
because there are many platforms.
Yeah, I mentioned a few. The things that we are 100% digital, and that is like a complete change. So there's no like too many hardware creation platforms that are 100% digital. We basically expose everything to the inventors, so they have all information in one single place. They can do everything from their home, so there's no need for uncomfortable conversations or meetings that you don't want to have. The other thing is that we base everything in the open innovation, as I mentioned, and this like helps adding too much value with because like sometimes I will tell you a story around this one. The thing is that like sometimes like when we are reviewing the proposals that come to us, that experts send to the different inventors, like sometimes what we think that is something like non-functional at the end is the solution that the client really wants, because it is like a completely different way of approaching a problem that probably we are here now based in Madrid or Spain, or Steve in the States, like we can't imagine, right? So let's say that digital open innovation, and then all these make us like hyper accessible, as I mentioned before.
And where do you see LastBasic in the future?
So
it's not that we're talking to investors. We're not talking to investors. We're talking to investors.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So the thing at the end is that this, like here, the internal team, we all know that there's too many things that we like, functionalities that we have in the backlog. There's like too many things that we want to develop, but indeed we are kind of like overbooked on the things that we want to create. But like they are all connected with one big principle, that is, we want to create a hub, a place that the inventor feel comfortable creating, and that like make the inventor succeed during like the whole experience, from the concept to the market, right? Like how we can fill all the gaps in the middle, and how LastBasic, with all the tools that we are providing, can help in that journey in a easy, accessible, and completely disruptive way.
Thanks, Alejandro. I set this up to have about half an hour exposure, and then try to keep up with the rest of the half an hour or 20 minutes for a Q&A. We're going to jump into the where is it? Here we go. To see how many questions we have. Do you want to read some of them? We've got Julian Franklin, just to say there.
This I can see them.
They're kind of small, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So
any questions that you can read out there?
Well, here we have one. Basically, they're asking. I think this sounds like a really informed lead, or what we like an inventor that is asking for what the feasibility. That we talk a lot, like in the platform, we talk about like what is a feasible project,
and what is it?
Yeah, they are asking about that.
Yeah.
The thing is,
how do we separate feasibility from non-feasible? I mean, maybe that's something that Steve should tell us, because I mean, he, after all, as COO, he's the one who validates each and every project. Steve, tell us a little bit about what's feasible and what isn't feasible. How do you judge that?
Yeah, we judge feasibility based on our marketplace constraints. So we are looking for projects that fit our business model, fit our pricing structure, so we can simplify as much as possible for you as the inventor. And that's typically devices, IoT devices are our sweet spot, where there's complex, multiple people need to be involved to design the product, potentially something that doesn't need a ton of research and development, but it's more of you're solving a specific customer problem with a clever idea. Those are typically feasible projects, as well as meeting our our size constraints so that the prototypes are easily moved around the world with our shipping system.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the main feasible things that we consider when looking at new projects.
Yeah, and I must say that if they should fall within a sector or an area, that would be consumer products, anything that you can find in your house, anything you can find in your office. I mean, we don't really go into industrial sectors.
Yeah, typically something with a brand vision behind it is the best fit, because we have talented sketch and industrial designers who can help kind of take your initial idea for your own brand and convert it into a physical product, which is pretty, I think, a hard thing for inventors sometimes to do. And then, converting that vision into an actual prototype is the latter half of our expert marketplace, and they take that industrial design and actually make it rapid prototypable, but also manufacturable depending on the package you choose.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah,
what other questions do we have?
I think, well, just adding something to that, I think when we are talking about, like, just reinforcing with what Steve mentioned, is that when we're talking about feasibility, is that we want to ensure, like, that all the projects that enter in the platform, they have, the right experience and the right support and everything. So that's why we spend this time, defining what feasible means or not. It is all about, ensuring the maximum quality for inventors, so they can know that if the project fits into our standards, then, like, that project is going to end successfully with us, and they will have something, as I mentioned, because for me, guys, it's important to reinforce this, like, something that is not only functional but also attractive, because you want to have something that is, like, that can sell by itself, right? And that is what we are doing now.
What other questions do we have there? Read the name.
Because we have another one from Julian. Julian. He's asking about about investors, right? Like, could you speak a little bit more about connections you may have with investors? So the thing is that I mentioned that during the webinar. I think it is about, we are trying to help the entrepreneur, right? So we are talking with, like, not only investors. I think it's more important, like, to relevant partners that will help or will support the different inventions from the very beginning. That we were, like, last week I was talking with a huge retail company here, and they just started asking me for, like, if we were able to license like almost all the products that we have in the platform. And it was like, hey, we can't do that now, but it's a possibility. As I mentioned, like, for us, it's all about empowering the entrepreneur. So investors, we will want to, like for us, the thing is not only, create something that is, like, meaningless. So, like, we want to create something that, like, makes sense for everyone. And if the investor or the partner could have early access to that idea, then, like, the inventor would get will encourage itself for continue with the development of that idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you're trying to say, is that basically, I mean, we've got the option to offer potential partners to jump into the platform, like if it was a Windows store, and they could see all the different projects, and if they see that there's one, especially if the retailers, if they see this one specifically that they like, they can then reach an agreement with the inventor for a licensing agreement as such. That's what I thought. Yes.
Exactly. Yes. So there's another question from Abigail here that they're asking, can you recommend investors for bringing seed funding? Of course, like, the things that we are building that network, I can't promise that the network is already built for you guys, but the reality is that this, like, not only for our experience as entrepreneurs, we have a lot of course, contacts and people interested in investing in these type of ideas. Functionality is not ready yet, that we will probably soon will be able to provide you with that list of possible investors. Or in any case, if you feel that, like, we at the end we are growing, we have a pretty human team behind all these. So if you have any question, any like any petition during like your experience in the platform, just just talk with us. Like, hey, can you help me with this? And then we will probably find a way. No matter if we will do that through the platform or we can put our own effort trying to help you.
Yeah, and I think that in order to grow the way we want to grow, we specialize in creating prototypes. That's it. Okay? But from the beginning to now, with this 4 years now running, we've improved that an awful lot, and we've brought in third-party companies who are helping us, especially you as inventors, to jump into additional services like how to sell your product better, crowdfunding, photo shooting, video shooting, patenting, and a few other services that we have already in place with third-party partners. And that's things that we're bringing in. In the future, we definitely want to bring in investors. It's not there at the moment, but it will be in the future. So, I mean, if you bear with us, definitely we can work with that. And as Alejandro was saying, definitely I think we can look at specific needs that you have on specific needs. I mean, moments that you can ask for.
Good.
Anything else?
No. Well, there's
number of questions there.
Yeah, there's a few more. There's I don't know how. I think we have time.
Yeah, we've got time.
There's okay, good. Well, Julian.
Julian, yeah.
Yeah, Julian.
I can address some of his licensing questions if you want.
Please do.
Go for it, Steve.
Yeah, so just so everyone knows, all of our experts are under NDA with LastBasic, so all the proposals are protected for you as the inventor, and all the design files are as well. So that to answer when it's on our platform. So that answers your first question. I think talking about licensing a product or invention, that's something to consider depending how I would say how innovative your invention is relative to competing products. If you are doing something that's fairly new to the world, it is worth considering at least protecting your intellectual property through a design patent, which you can work with, patent attorneys to establish that at an early stage. Once you have initial designs that you could, even design proposals through the LastBasic platform, you could use those to talk with a patent attorney to establish design rights over that. When it comes to licensing, I think that's another question to think about as you consider how you want to sell your product. Is that worth you owning full royalties over your invention and selling it directly to customers, or you licensing out to third-party channels that can take a cut essentially as a lead generation of selling your product? I think there's both ways are good ways, but it's very dependent on your business model, I think, as you develop your idea.
Cool. Any more questions there?
Good. This last one was talking about a little bit like Kickstarter, talking about like the previous question on
crowdfunding.
On the investors and partnership side. I think, well, we are probably the perfect match with Kickstarter, because like most of the clients or like in this case inventors that enter into the platform, they are planning to create a crowdfunding campaign, and the reality is that being on that early step is helping a lot of them, because I have personally been part of a few crowdfunding projects, and we have really good relations with good advisors in the crowdfunding ecosystem. So definitely we are the perfect previous step before going into a crowdfunding campaign, no matter if it's going to be in Europe or in the United States. Indeed, also we have experts in Asia.
Yeah.
And well, I think I will always encourage all the inventors to create something, iterate, and then once that you have that, continue, gathering feedback and more feedback. And like all these crowdfunding platforms are the perfect environment for getting two big things. That is, of course, funding and validation, market validation, and that is more than what any other platform could offer, right? So yes, so like I think we are pretty well connected on that side. So feel free also to ask
some of these additional services that I was mentioning. I mean, we've got agreements with specialists and crowdfunding agencies out of the States and in Southeast Asia, especially in South Korea and in Japan. Well, it's a South Korean agency, but they work with Japanese well-known platform for crowdfunding. So, I mean, if you're interested into Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or whether going into Southeast Asia, we've got that possibility there through specialists, as I said, and definitely, I mean, it's up to you to decide within your business plan if it's something that you want to crowdfund, if you want to go straight into manufacturing and then into retail. It's up to you to work that out. Definitely we can help you. A new question.
I can address the question from Peter about, is there an account manager who can help me with technical or engineering issues? Yes, we have a customer service team that is on the LastBasic internal team that we are there throughout the process to answer any questions you have as the platform takes you through the product development experience, specifically around times where you have to give feedback on proposals, maybe where you aren't totally sure on which proposal to choose, or if you have a specific question for the experts, we facilitate those conversations between you and them. All the platform.
Thanks, Steve. So I don't think there are more questions. Does anybody want to jump in live and ask a question? I'm not sure if they're not muted.
There's Scott on the speak feature.
I will give him.
There's two people requesting.
Scott and Julian.
I'm trying.
Bear with us a second, Scott and Julian. We're trying to.
Apparently, this functionality is not viable. So, Scott, if you don't mind, I encourage you to send us a message here through the chat, so we can help you. Looks like the platform has some
issues with allowing you guys jump into live and asking questions.
Well, they're asking us something about like an invention that we have created, and of course we have at this point we have a lot of interesting stories, and really this the website is full of success cases, and we have plenty more. There's too many more that are going to appear soon. But I will probably, I think what is more important, I will tell you an example that also explains the type of of journey that the inventor can do with us. Is that we have these Luis, we have a lot of inventors that enter, they create a first iteration, and why not after that they discover that they are happy with that, they decide that that is not they want to iterate on that idea, so they decide to create a second iteration with us. And that was the case of Rob. Remember Rob? He created two pedal-like devices, one for each hand, that send vibrations or a pulse, and that was based on a physical principle or a medical principle called bilateral stimulation, and that was for people that suffer anxiety, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So those two pebbles were sending, different pulses, and like, of course, I experienced those things I experienced this UX of the pebbles, and they work well. And after he ended with the first iteration, he discovered that, well, the look and feel that he thought that was what he wanted, the size, everything was not exactly what he wanted. But then with that, he raised some, funding and feedback from the market, and was able of creating a second iteration with us. And then we have, just for ending with another client, we have all the clients that instead of going that way, they decide to create different versions of the same idea. So one was for, remember the food sensor for delivery, like he created one device that allow like the riders of delivery platforms to know like easy what is the bag that they need to grab. And then at the same time he created one for drinks, right? So he was kind of like, he decided that like time was so important for him, that like creating and iterating at the same time with the accessibility that we were offering him was the right idea. And guess what? The thing is that at the end he closed a huge agreement with a pretty well-known delivery platform in the States, and he's so happy. He have more than 4 projects in the platform. Yeah. So I think that particular project is in the success case section of the website. So
definitely
you can check it out.
Any new questions that we have?
No, I think if you allow me, Luis, I think it would be great to have Steve. What is your like a good question to you, Steve? What is your favorite offer that LastBasic has, right? What is, like, for example, like what is, like, from your experience, leading the operational team, something that has surprised you in the sense of like something that, like, with all this experience that you have in the traditional, engineering consultancy, something that couldn't happen in those in those like traditional agencies.
Yeah, I think I love to see new inventors kind of learn the process with us and learn what's important when it comes to prototyping through our platform. And I love to see that experts can essentially, especially for the digital parts of our process, experts can bring good ideas to the marketplace from anywhere. So you get a nice diverse set of proposals, which typically in a traditional world of consulting, which I came from, it's more constrained than that. So LastBasic allows you, at least at the early stages of the design process, to see, what different diverse perspectives can provide you in your invention and allow you to maybe think a little bit more creatively about it.
Perfect, Steve. Thank you very much for that.
Thanks. Okay. Well, I see there are no new questions unless we've missed some. Apologies.
There's one from Christine.
Okay, Christine. Yes.
Good. Really good question from Christine. She's asking the percentage of the projects done with us that they went like the whole like to lunch, right? They do everything. Indeed, I don't have the number. That is something, because it is not that easy to track what happened after. But the reality is that probably I can say that almost 20%, probably a little bit more. They finally at the end remember that this is there's too many grays in the middle, so it is not like white or black. I reach the market or not. The thing is that there's like too many discoveries during the process, or sometimes like something has helped the client not investing more sometimes, or all the times like has helped him create another system, another approach completely different. And that is for us like difficult to track. But let's say that for the ones that we are in touch, like for example this one that I mentioned from the States in Miami, this other one from the Pebbles, they launch those projects. I can tell there's a few of them. They create crowdfunding campaigns. They are like almost I think I didn't have the numbers, but like almost all of those campaigns, they raised the funding successfully. So yes, so sorry, Christine, for not giving you a more accurate number, but let's say that 20% of the projects, they end with a final launch.
I'd say that's Christine. That's I mean, as I've been telling you in this webinar. I mean, we've grown from just doing prototype into accompanying the inventor or the entrepreneur along his or her entrepreneurial career, and we've tried to find out more where they're going, what they're doing, and so on. We've got very good relations with some of them. That's one of the examples that Alejandro was telling you, that we know how they've gone into crowdfunding. They've raised the funding as such. Probably we've lost track of some of them, but I mean, we try and keep in touch more and more with them, because we want to be with them, and of course we want to be showcasing this success case in our, as part of our success also. So there isn't a figure as such, a number, but we can say that I'd say that 15 to 20% of the products, we do have a track of what's happening with them.
Yeah,
and we like to be with them.
Also, something is like, I know that like Christina's question has raised another question, and I think the reality of like, it is not only about launching the product, because like, as what I was saying is that, like, after talking with these partners that I mentioned to you, there's indeed this partner was trying to empower like 5 or 6 projects at the same time. So at the end, we can't know what is going to happen with those projects. But like, last numbers that I had is that they were planning to buy more than 100,000 units of something that is not created yet. So what I'm trying to say is that we are still pretty young, right, as in a startup. So there's like, for most of the prototypes, we still don't have this final output. But for the ones that we have, this, I think, like, in other words, like, let's say about numbers of recurrence. Like, we have, like, last year we had like 40% of the inventors. Like 40% of the inventors, they had created another project with us, and that, I think, that is like something that we should feel all really proud of.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, and we're looking into raising that a percentage, definitely.
Good.
Okay, shall we wrap it up with a quick video? Shall we?
Yes.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to leave you with a very quick video. It's a musical video. It gives you, I think, a good understanding what LastBasic is about. And anyways, I mean, if you need to get back to me, whether closing a video call or whatever, I think we have a new question here from Julian. There's been a good deal of talk about entrepreneurship, but
there's been a good deal of talk about entrepreneurs, but I only want to pursue this as a side hustle. Well, that is what we mentioned at the beginning, right? It is all about. It is. Meanwhile, Luis is going to set the video. I will answer this question. There's like too many options, right? So like, at the end, like, all these, like LastBasic as a platform, for example, is like helping you. Like, it's not going to take you more than 1 hour a week taking the necessary decision. So it's not that time consuming. And also, like, if you start running like these, super easy and cheap, landing pages for $100, you can run a Facebook ad campaigns with a single, probably also with an A/B testing of a landing page, and you can get, a lot of insights. Meanwhile, you continue doing your day job.
There's another question there. Oh, Julian, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. I'm looking for the video.
Videos,
yeah, but it doesn't show.
It is not there anymore.
No, it's not there.
But in any case, I think we are running out of time. I think
sorry, guys, about that.
More time from
It's a new platform for us, and we didn't quite have all the things right there. I definitely I can share the video with you if you want to in another moment. I can send it to you over the email. Thank you very much for attending. I hope we've at least resolved some of your questions and comments. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much, Alejandro. and hope to see you guys engaging with us soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye, guys.